Any other questions about the precepts? The precepts are quite tricky.
You know, all these precepts are put into practice. Like you said, occasionally you can violate it, and then after that you just reflect, and you just look on your heart.
Right.
It's unlike like
Yeah.
business like confessions,
The-
and after they get
yes.
penance.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say occasionally we can violate it. It's not like
No, I mean unintentionally,
yeah.
it does happen.
Yeah.
It's very, I
Exactly.
mean, in practice it's very difficult
Yeah.
to observe it.
That's right. So like I said, we look at conditions. What are the conditions that led to breaking the precept? And those are very important clues to how we can improve ourselves. So in other words, there is no idea of punishing here. The idea of learning. That's why they're called training rules. In fact, another word for sila is sikapada. Same word. And sometimes it's called pancha sikapada. Sika means training. This training here, and then there's pada. Pada means steps. Sikapada. So pancha sikapada also can. Right, so that's why, you know, the Buddha is very compassionate. He's telling us how we can cultivate our strengths step by step. So all these precepts telling us where we are not strong and where to strengthen ourselves. When you're sitting here studying suttas or when you're doing your meditation, you find ideal you're not breaking the precepts, right? So you use that memory, you think about it, and you feel very peaceful. When you feel very peaceful, then you can meditate. Then you become stronger, and this strength will help you keep the precepts better. So they go back and forth, they help each other. So it's a very wonderful plan here. You know, we're not blaming anybody, we're not blaming ourselves, we're not blaming God. It's all a perfect plan for self-improvement, being human. Any other questions? Okay. So now let's look at another part here. Let's look at the other part. We have 5 precepts with 6 senses. Why does the Buddha begin his moral virtue, his first part of training, with the senses? Because it's the body. Right. It's our body and speech. Okay, here again we can step back and ask some basic questions. This is one thing about interesting about Buddhism. It always begins with some very basic questions. There is one sutta called the Sabba Sutta, which I mentioned yesterday also. Sabba means all. Discourse on the all. It is very short sutta. The Buddha says, what is the all? What is everything? In other words, the Buddha is basically asking, what is this everything we can know, everything that we need to know, what is it? The monks, of course, don't know the answer. The monks say, oh, you know, we are your students, please tell us the answer. The Buddha's answer is very simple. The Buddha says, the all, this is all. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Okay? And their respective objects. Okay, this is where we use a bit. Just change this up. All these are in this book, so if you miss it out, you can look up the book. So if you forget what I've said, just look up this book. Shall you have this book?
Yes.
Okay. So these are called the 6 internal senses or sense faculties. And now we have the 6 external sense objects. External senses or sense objects. So eye, we have form or physical form, meaning shapes, colors. Here, the object is sound or vibrations. Nose, a smell, tongue, a taste, Because you can put plural if you like. Body is touch, mind, we use mind object. Thoughts is one kind of mind object. Ideas, thoughts, normally we use as mind objects. So all that, how do we know the world? How do we know everything around us? We know it through our five senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. These are called the five physical senses. This is called the sixth sense. So, whatever we see, smell, see, hear, smell, taste, touch, it doesn't happen out there, it happens in our minds. Okay, so this last is very important. We don't see things as they really are. For example, when we look at the book, we don't just say it's a book. We look at it, we say, some people say, wow, nice color. Some people say, how thick is it? Some people say, what is it about? So each person has a different idea. Or some people say, oh, I don't like books. So we don't just look at the book and then take it like that. We always add value to it. Right? It is this add value habit that creates the problem. In other words, we often react. We react to all this action. We react to all these 5 or 6 actions in 3 ways. We either like it, we don't like it, or we don't care about it. So if we see something nice, let's say we see someone, we say, oh, this person I like it, and then we act in a certain way. That is why in the movies or in the TV, you see people disguise themselves, and then all this comedy, Shakespeare like to play around with some comedy of errors. People disguise themselves, and people get mixed up, and then you find it's a different guy who is disguised, and then this guy think that it's the other guy, and people really get confused. So in other words, we always look on the outside, and then we like, dislike, don't care, we act that way, but we don't really know what's the reality behind it. That's why suffering arises in us. That's called feeling, like, dislike, don't care. We hear things also, same thing. We hear something, we say, oh, this sutta I studied already. So already shut down his mind. So he doesn't learn anything. The problem is, it can be the same sutta, but it's a lot of new things can be learned. I've been learning some of the sutta that lost count how many times. Every time people come here, I'll teach one sutta. Very often it's the same sutta. But I noticed that it depends on the group also. If the group is really interested, there's so many new things that come out of a very simple sutta. So the sutta is simply a teaching where you use to engage yourself in goodness. It's not something, people who say, oh, the sutta I learned already, they treat it, number one, like newspapers, I read already yesterday, paper and throw away. Suttas are not newspapers. Suttas are living messages which every day speaks different things, every moment speaks different things when you look at it. I studied 30 years ago, I look at it, now I look, wow, there's a deeper meaning. And the next thing I look at it, deeper still. So we are growing. So we cannot just say, oh, it's just, oh, Dhammacakka Sutta, I know already. You look at it, next time you find something, you find a young man explaining it, you say, wow, I've never heard that before. So we tend to judge. We tend to project ideas we learn from the past onto what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, feelings, right? And also thoughts that come to us. What does all this mean? Okay, one important thing we learn from this is not to totally, don't add on to what we see. Basically, we must tell ourselves, what am I looking at now? Okay, it's just a book. Okay, whether you want to read it or not, it's up to you. But don't have any negative thoughts to it. Especially people, people, we just like we call it present moment awareness. This is a very good way of explaining this. Present moment awareness also has to do with meditation. Yeah? Present moment awareness means we treat people like as if we are meeting them the first time. We notice people, especially people in our families, because sometimes we take them for granted. Our spouses, our children, our relatives. You notice when other people come to the house, we try to be nice to them, say, hey, how are you, and so on, because it's like we're meeting them the first time. So that's an attitude we can have in our minds. If we can do that, and people are very happy when they see us like that, because we're happy. Right? So, in Buddhist teaching, in fact, every time you meet a person, it's the first time. Because the previous time is different. Every time is different. There is always something new we do not know about each other. It's not like I can pass you a latest report, okay, it's what happened since the last time I met you. Right? So we really don't know. People grow, people change. Sometimes, because we expect people to behave in a certain way, so they also show us that kind of character. Or we just choose to see that person in a certain way. So we never really know the true person. Right? So it's not easy to know people. Sometimes you know they are lying, but what to do? You can't really have a full relationship with them. That's okay. The important thing is you try to be open with them, and somehow the connection will become better and better. The relationship become better and better. We can't do this to everybody, but we can do this to people who matter to us. So this is called present moment awareness. We treat people, here they are, how do they feel, we respond to that, we try to understand them right this moment. Right now, this is a situation, we deal with it. That's the main present moment awareness. Ideally, we use this present moment awareness in meditation, like watching the breath. That's the easiest. We watch the breath always there, and this is real. It's not something we imagine. So that's why meditation is very helpful. So these senses, they tricks on us because they make us bring something back from the past and we superimpose it on the present. We are not really experiencing what's going on now. We hear a sound, we don't just hear a sound, we color it with greed, hate, delusion. Okay? We like it. So same thing with our thoughts also. Thoughts are the most difficult thing. Next week I'll talk about the three roots in a bit more detail. How they help us how to understand the meaning of this all these things. Meditation. Okay, I think next week I'll talk about meditation. I'll just briefly talk about the three roots first. Next week I'll go into more details. Three unwholesome roots. Okay, now the question we ask ourselves, why do we break the precepts? Why do we break the precepts? Whenever we break a precept, it's always due to either greed or hate, and delusion is always present. So it's either greed plus delusion, hate plus delusion. Delusion is always there because we are not awakened. Delusion means some kind of wrong idea. For example, we say, it's okay lah, this time only or something like that. Okay? So it's a sense like a weakness. And at that time, you're not aware of it. At that time, why are we not aware of it? Because our past experience is so powerful. Our past experience just pushes us. It's okay, do it. So it is a karmic energy. That is why you need mindfulness. So if you have studied Dhamma, the Sutta, whatever, it's wow, look at my mind. So you begin to see how your mind is working. You are more aware of how your mind works. And that's why you said no. So in other words, I'm talking about your next already. You have two persons, two minds, so to speak. Some meditators, some teachers call it doer and the knower, the old mind and the new mind. The doer is the old mind, but this one is very experienced, very nasty, very cunning mind, very ancient part of us. It's been there since day one. It's the old mind. This is the backseat driver, always telling us what to do. You go shopping, this is the mind telling you, buy this, buy that, and so on. This is the one telling you to get angry. This is the old mind. The new mind is the present mind that is learning. You see, you notice, you've got to make an effort to pay attention, to listen to people. The other mind say, when is this going to finish? Huh? I don't have to go home already. So you notice that actually two minds. Even you're getting up in the morning, you notice that, the alarm clock goes off. Immediately the first mind says, hey, time to get up. The second mind says, no, 5 minutes more. There's already a debate there, right? So there are at least two minds working, okay, so to speak. Actually it's the same person, but it's like you got two it's like split personality. In fact, they're different decisions, so the opposite. So this how the precepts work. The old mind says, do it. So we must strengthen the present mind. So the present mind is strengthened through present moment awareness, through meditation. So that's how we strengthen the precept by strengthening it. So we make it natural. At first we're not strong. It's okay. As slowly as our mind becomes stronger, our precept also becomes stronger. So they go back and forth, back and forth. So it's not, we're not saying this is evil. In fact, the word evil is not used. We use the word bad. Bad meaning you feel unhappy about it. You say, I'm not perfect. How can I become better? Something like that. Okay. So, for example, you see something, and then you see something, greed arises. Why does greed arise? Because you look at this object, you remember something in the past similar to it, or same thing, and then in the past something good happened to you. And then you look at it, I like this one. So we are drawn to it. So we are reliving the past. So we're used to it, right? And then we see someone we don't like this person. Why? Because someone in the past who looks like him, not him, but looks like him, hurt us. So we say, I don't like this guy. It reminds me of my ex or something like that. But he's a different person. But then, we're already caught up with this kind of bias. So we call it bias. So bias means what? We are prejudging people. How do we prejudge people? By the past, right? Greed, hate, delusion, fear is called the 3 unwholesome roots. Sometimes there are 4. They are called the 4 biases. 4 biases: greed, hate, delusion, fear. Yeah. We can also break the precept because of the 4 biases. Out of fear. We are afraid of being punished. Let's say you have a poor family. The father tells the kid, you better go and steal something, if not, we'll come back and beat you up. This poor kid has to steal. Does he break the precept? He does. He breaks the precept. Father also breaks the precept. Father is worse. He's the one pushing the son. Poverty is no excuse. He still breaks the precept. So the Buddha said people like that, they're born poor, and then they go on breaking the precept. It's like they are in darkness, going to darkness. It's not useful. Whereas the family is poor, but the family will say, yes, we will be poor, but we will never steal. And then they work hard, and then slowly the children go to school, pass, and do very well. Then Buddha said, from darkness into light. And then you had rich kids, they have everything, but they're bored to death. This happened in the 80s. They start go shopping, they go shoplifting for fun. And they start comparing, wow, I got this more value than yours. And they get caught. So the working street are very worried what to do. It's people, they're getting into crimes not because they are poor, it's because they are bored. So it's very worrying. And then that's when they started having all these Buddhist studies in school and all the Buddhisms. So this is where you have another problem there. Anyway, so in the case of the poor family, that's why it's important, that they get help, scholarships, the temple help them, things like that. So because they are poor, so we try to give them a bit of lift, a bit of a bridge to cross over, so they don't break the precepts. So we can help others to do that, and that's called compassion. Compassion means you help people even when they do not deserve it, especially when they don't deserve it. Like this poor person, you are kind to this person, that's compassion, so you can keep the precepts. So remember I mentioned earlier, we keep the precepts. One reason is because we have loving kindness. The precepts are kept with loving kindness, compassion. We don't kill out of compassion. We don't steal out of compassion. We don't commit social misconduct out of compassion. We don't tell lies out of compassion. We should not get drugged or drunk out of compassion for others, because when we get drugged or drunk, other people also suffer, our families suffer. So, greed, of course. So how are greed, hate, delusion related? Greed meaning lack. We have an idea that, oh, I don't have this. But where did we learn this idea? I don't have this and I must have this. By looking at other people, by comparing ourselves with other people. So we call that conceit. And this is a Buddhist psychological term, right? This conceit is very hard to get rid of. Only the arahats can get rid of it. But we can still be in control of it. Conceit is a measuring of. We measure ourselves and other people. We look at people, we have a very quick idea. We say, oh, I'm better than this guy. Wow, this guy is better than me. Or, I'm as good as this guy. So 3 kinds of conceit. Yeah? You've got the superiority conceit, inferiority conceit, equality conceit. Okay? This is pervasive, it's common to everybody, except arhats. Arhats don't bother, just look at you and listen. The point is we've got to be aware of this. When we are aware of this, then we are more in control. When we're not aware, then this takes over. If we're not aware, the past will take over. If we are aware of the present mind is strong. If we let go of that, the past will take over. So this is another way of looking at ourselves. That's why we've got to be mindful. So we look at other people, oh, this guy got nice phone and so many features. Oh, this guy got nice dress, nice car, nice house, I also want. Right? So, but then you don't realize this person having all those things, I'm not happy. So you think, wow, they have all these things, they're happy. Actually, they're not. And then we get all those things, we're not happy. Why? Because we see someone else has something else. And then we go on like that, we're never happy. Because we have no standards of our own. We're always depending on others for standards. That's called fashion, by the way. So we won't be happy. So what the Buddha is saying is, we must be emotionally independent. We must learn to think for ourselves and be happy for ourselves. If you don't be happy for yourself first, you will never be happy, because you're always copying from others and other people are not very happy. So, or you cannot simply measure people by things. Right? So greed causes suffering because greed gives us a wrong idea by comparing with others. So, but we see things and then we start comparing. We hear things, we compare and so on. So when you start comparing and then you say, oh, I want that, then you get caught up with it. So that's greed. Greed also can be quite tricky. For example, sounds. Right? You know, the con man, oh, this is very nice sound. You also get moved, right? So you have to be very careful. You must be wise enough to say, oh, this kind of kindness I had before, it's not real kindness. They're trying to con us, trying to cheat us. Not real. But then you gently say no. You learn to say no. When you learn to say no, you're practicing your freedom. Right? So this greed can also drag you in the wrong way. It can cheat you by saying, this is nice, I want it, because the person seems to be very kind to me. Because in the past, someone thought that that's kind to me too. But it's not true. It's a comment. So you must be wise in judging people by their voice also. There's a famous sutta here. There is this monk, he was a dwarf, very short, and very ugly. So people don't like to look at him. But his voice is very nice. The moment people hear his voice, they want to come and listen. So one day he said, those who judge me by my voice and those who judge me by my looks, they both have wrong ideas. They listen to me, they think I'm nice. They look at me, they think I'm ugly. So they judge me by external ideas. That is because of greed. This person is greedy for beautiful things. So you look, oh, short, very short, ugly, like tall, and some guy is beautiful. But that's only an opinion. Then you hear the voice very nice. Oh, so the sutta, the teaching also must be nice. So they have this kind of, this is based on greed, which is not wise, basically. So what's meant here is we should not measure people, basically. We should carefully study them, listen to them, and see what we can learn from them. Hatred is the opposite. Hatred is where you were hurt by something in the past, and then you see a similar situation here, you think that is the past. And this is very sad because it can limit your life. You know, I've met people in my life, they've been hurt before, and they learn not to trust anybody. So you can never really make friends with them. Because they say, oh, everyone like that, you don't trust anybody. So you will never be happy. Just because something bad happened in the past doesn't mean everybody is like that, right? People are different. At different times they are different. So we cannot say everyone is the same all the time. So the idea here is, in a sense, to give a bit of space to people. It's okay if people make mistakes. People don't get upset because of us all the time. Right? People are upset because of some other many causes. There's never one single cause that makes us unhappy. There are always many causes. So we just happen to be there, people get upset, right? So don't be afraid, show your loving kindness, be patient. So that way you can bring happiness to those people and you are happy wherever you go. So you don't have hatred. Because hate can also make us get the precepts. For example, we say, I want to make this company go out of business, so steal, we want to pay them, things like that. If that's the case, then there will be no economy, the whole country will collapse, everybody thought like that. Or we feel that, well, I don't like this guy, so I didn't want to help him. But you really don't know. But it's his problem. It's not that he's trying to hurt anybody, but he is poor or he's having a lot of other issues. He's never brought up to really relate to people properly, so he looks a bit unsocial, antisocial. So that is why nowadays you have all this social work, counseling, and so we try to help these people. Difficult as this may be. So you need a lot of skill to help people, especially loving kindness, so that we don't absorb this negativity ourselves. And moreover, by being positive, we also change people's lives. So hatred is not good because it is destructive. This one is the pulling effect, wanting. This one is the pushing effect, the one. Okay? Delusion is what keeps this going, back and forth. Delusion. Delusion is wrong ideas about things. Okay? So delusion is always there. And of course, fear also. Okay? So, alright, so those are the main things I have to talk about now. Question time, right? So you can ask me some general questions. Yes.
So you mentioned like we see something, then we will link it to our past experience. So if we see something that is totally we do not have idea on that, it's a new kind of idea, so we do not have the much more similar experience. So maybe it create confusion. What is this?
Yes, that's possible. That will lead to the third one. Okay, this is where we become a bit deeper. Since you asked, I will explain it a bit deeper. So these are called the three roots, right? Now these roots, they go deeper still, They go deeper still. They're called, you remember what they're called? Latent tendencies. Very deep. We don't even know they are there. So greed has got deeper roots. It is called lust. Hatred has deeper root. It is called aversion. Delusion has deeper root. It is called ignorance. Okay? Now this is called latent tendencies. This is extra. I don't want to teach today, but since you asked with this. Latent means it's very deep. This is what carries on life after life if we're not careful. This is our karmic roots, if you like. This is unconscious. It is expressed in this way in our pre-conscious mind. This is also unconscious. Okay? So now to answer your question, every time we desire for something, we reinforce lust. Next time we see it, we again want it. So that's how you say an act. So an act, reap a habit. Okay? Every time we get angry with somebody, we are likely to be angry with that person again the next time. That's why immediately we should send loving kindness. Immediately we help. So we don't program our mind to react like that. In fact, it's all about programming. We are programming our minds so we can take charge in other ways. Now come to your question. So we come to a situation where we don't know what it is, you know. We have never experienced before. And we just live it like that, we don't think about it. Then we reinforce it others. Okay? So what should we do here? Very simple. Reflect on impermanence and loving kindness. So we say, especially in meditation, this is meaningful in meditation. Let's say you're meditating, and this person first time meditating, never studied Buddhism. In fact, yesterday we had this really wonderful lady, she's just like the church. She said she go to church, pray, said, I step all, I'm tired of all this. So you come for meditation, I want to try out first, you know. And then I told her you can also stay for Buddhist class if you like, you know. And she actually decided to do that. And she was so happy with the class. So this is where she suddenly found there's something new, something different. And she's so happy with it. Before that, she didn't know anything about it. So imagine such a person who never known Buddhism when they meditate, they sit down, and then they suddenly feel so peaceful. They don't know what it is, you know, and they don't know what to do with it. It could be frightening. Maybe they're so frightened, they say, oh, I want to do this. I don't know what this is. Fear arises in them. And yet it's such a beautiful thing. So fear may arise, why? Because of ignorance. So that's why the teacher will say, it's okay, this is peacefulness. This is the result of your mind becoming calm. Then they have faith, confidence. Then they continue, right? So this is where people meditate by themselves. They don't know what happened, so they don't know how to relate to it. So ignorance arises, right? So this same thing, in daily life, if we see something, we don't know what it is, one thing you can be sure, relate to it with impermanence, then you are safe. You meditate, there is neither joy nor sorrow, neither joy nor pain arising. So you reflect on that peaceful moment as impermanence. Don't say, hey, why nothing, man? And then you're thinking about it. Just reflect as impermanence. So this is much deeper. Okay. Any other questions about what we studied today?
When you say reflect on impermanence, that means you're also saying that the moment will pass.
Yeah, that's one way. Actually, here we talk about what I call the 8 worldly conditions, or in Chinese they say the 8 winds. Okay. Number 1 is gain and loss. So this is the first fact you must know. Where there is gain, there will be loss. In other words, you strike lottery 4 million. Of course you should be happy, nothing wrong with that. But also tell yourself, I better be wise now, because all those people, now all the distant relatives will come. People who are not relatives also will claim they are relatives. Neighbors also will be different. Robbers will come, conmen will come. Be very careful. So you've got to be wise. Next thing is, in Singapore it's not much money. So if I'm not careful, I will lose them. Even this 4 million is impermanent. You reflect on that, then you use it wisely. You save it carefully, you're also kind to people, so people don't get jealous or become, have all kind of nasty plans, right? And you're very careful not to push people don't harm you. So this reflection in permanence is very useful. This is called reality check. Some people say, wow, 4 minutes, all my life, prayer, answer, everything. That's very stupid. Right? Because after the money is gone, you prayers. So in other words, when you say we practice dominant, it's not being holy, it's being realistic. It's being realistic. And really enjoying your wealth. Because in Buddhism, we often say that this is the best way to enjoy your wealth, through wisdom, through knowledge. Okay? And then we apply to people, we always assume, our loved ones always be there, our children always be children. A little baby. Today I was holding my son's uniform, so tiny. It's not double the size. So next thing you look, they're very different. And when you look again, they're married, so on. And then the next thing you look, your loved one is gone. That's life. So you got to be prepared. So in other words, while they are still there, you got to treat them. Say, our friendship, our connection, all got shelf life. So we got to make the best of time. We should never assume things are forever. Then our relationship becomes more of a higher quality. In fact, if you want to be really a little extreme, we can say whenever we meet people, imagine it's the first and last time. Then you really treasure it, And next time also you make like first and last time. Right? Then you find you value people more. That's why when I teach, I try to just get as much as I can because I don't know next week they'll come or not. Something like that. It's not their fault because there's so many other conditions there. Sometimes friends will come and say, why you want to study all this thing? Why you become so religious and so on and so forth. So this is where even property also, when you have things, same thing. You look at it and say, okay, it's nice, what I have is wonderful. When I don't have it, it's okay. Right? So this is, if you live like that, then you're not controlled by the thing. You live happily with whatever is around. So in Buddhism, we don't say what, basically what we're saying is, what you have before you, when you use it, it's really yours. If you just keep it, it's not yours. So what you have is not yours. It's only what you use is really yours, so to speak. Right? I mean, I can have a lot of books, all my life, never even look at it, so it's just nothing but, with the German saying, an unopened book is but a block. So books must be useful, for example. Right? Even friends. I remember when I was in school, we used to have a saying, friends like books should be few and good. Okay? But I took exception because I have a lot of books, I love books, and I feel so difficult to throw away books, so I normally will, as long as they're related to my work, I'll keep them there. If there's no space there, then I'll store them for them somewhere. So these are ways we can arrange our life, depending on your values. So when you can use something, it is useful. It doesn't mean use people in this case. Where people are concerned, it means how you connect with them. How you connect with them so that you show your best qualities and it also bring up their best qualities. Then you really connect. Then you're really happy. Okay? Next question? So let me summarize. So today we'll talk about the Buddhist training, 3 trainings. Right? We call ourselves Buddhists. We train our first training is our body and speech. Why do we need to train our body and speech? Because this is our daily life, how we express ourselves through our actions, through our speech. And this should be within the confines of the 5 precepts. This must be guided by the 5 precepts. Because the 5 precepts are the basic rules that make us human. The 5 precepts are based on 5 kinds of respects. Respect for life. The first precept is based on the respect for life. That's why we do not kill. Second, respect a second value, the second precept is based on the value of happiness. That's why we do not take away what does not belong to us, what does not rightly belong to us. Thirdly, is based on the value of freedom. That's why we should respect the other person fully, completely. The fourth precept is based on the value of truth. Right? Because if all these things are not truthful, then there's no point talking about them. And all these precepts prepare ourselves for something higher. So the fifth precept is telling us, don't pollute, do not defile the mind. Keep the mind as clear as possible so that you can go to the next step of training of the mind. When the mind is clear, then all our other senses are also clear. How we see things, hear things, smell things, taste things, touch things. All these become very clear and we understand they're impermanent. We reflect on the fact that everything is impermanent, and this reflection adds value, real value to this thing. We feel that, in a sense, we should not waste time being kind to people. There might be not the next time. Sometimes you want to do something nice to someone, we hold back. And when we want to do it, the person is dead already. Or the person gone somewhere, we never meet the person. Or the person changed his mind, so we can't communicate. So this is when you want to do good, do it like today. Even if it is embarrassing, people will know you have good heart. Right? So if you have that kind of mind, you become strong, you become courageous. So this is the first part of training. I only talk about the body aspect. Right? So next week we'll talk about the mental aspect, meditation, a bit of wisdom. And next week is our last session.